there, food lovers, and welcome back to Stuff, the podcast where we talk about food, cooking, our favourite ingredients, and ways to get creative and inventive in the kitchen.
It's hosted by us. That's me, George Egg, the snack hacker, and Martin O'Dell, the Lagom chef.
Hello.
This is a show all about making food accessible, fun, and above all, delicious.
That's right, and it says here, each week we'll be chatting about some of ours and our listeners' favourite dishes.
It's mostly going to be about our favourite dishes, isn't it?
It's about us.
And our favourite ingredients.
Yeah, yummy.
But the important thing is that you've got to head over to @TheStuffed Podcast on social media.
On the newspaper.
On the social media.
On the social
things.
medias.
Instagram and blah, 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 and all the rest. And subscribe and rate and
Be nice.
talk to your friends about it.
Just tell us. I actually bumped into someone in Pret a Manger earlier and he said, love the pod.
That's so nice when that happens in the real world, isn't it?
Made that up just for us.
Don't
Anyway.
be shy. But it has happened in real life.
Yeah,
really.
twice.
And it has to me.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
I've been up to...
knees are very close today,
I don't
aren't they?
mind. It's nice, comforting, reassuring.
Who's going to get my crotch round?
Unlocked. I've been celebrating my grandson's first birthday.
Oh, what an occasion. I
How
love
nice is
ones.
that? Yeah. I baked him a cake.
I saw it.
In the shape of a one.
It was so cool.
So just a plain, like, Victoria sponge mix. Although I made it more, it was almost toffee flavoured. So I did about 2/3 white sugar, 1/3 really dark brown sugar.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, you know, like the kind of the one that...
Was that not
that's
2/3 of the cake?
No, but
No.
it was always surprising how much sugar is in a
No.
cake when you make it.
Oops.
If anybody hasn't made a cake before, that it's always a shocker the first time you make a cake.
Well, when you do a
"That
pound
much
cake,
sugar?"
when you know the recipe of a pound cake,
A pound of everything.
where? Or
Yeah.
you just weigh one egg.
Right.
So if you weigh an egg, 60 grams or 62, and
Yeah.
then you do 60, 60, 60 of butter, sugar, and flour.
And then, yes,
I
that's the
think.
thing. It's all equal. Well, this one, it was all equal quants, but I did a mix of that. And then I did a mix of the sugars and I did a mix of half and half white and wholemeal flour. So it just had
Oh.
a sort of earthy, but really, yeah, it got this amazing kind of butterscotchy toffee flavor. And then layer of jam on top, which I'd loosened down with water so it soaked in, so it got nice and moist. And then just regular icing sugar and water on top, and then loads of sprinkles.
I love
So
the
it looked
sprinkles.
like really kind of, yeah.
I was going to say, it reminds me of that one I said, you just need some rubbish custard with it. Because we used to have, and then you didn't reply to me.
Oh, sorry, I got distracted.
I was
by-
really in. I was like, George, I'm invested. And then you ignored me. Yeah, because we used to have it like warm, terrible, thin, watery custard. And then
Yes,
you put the
and
cake
then-
in, and then it
and
all
then
kind of
bleeds.
Oh.
And yeah, listeners, viewers, we did talk because then we talked about Milk Bar, the recipe book.
Yeah, but you might have skipped the answer to my question.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
because then Mummifolk got really confusing, doesn't it?
Yes, but it was so funny. Yeah, what you'd said, it was exactly true. Brilliant recipe book, but it's one of those ones. It's like I was thinking it's a bit like one of those find your own adventure game books, because you'll go, it'll go. You need this. You need milk crumb page 261, and then you go to milk crumb page, and you need the cake crumbs. That's it. And then it's just like it's just layers on layers. It's like Inception.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
Cooking Inception. But I suppose that book works because you're in a bakery and you're like, okay, let's make this for the base
Yes,
of this.
and
But
then
if
you'll
you
got your
didn't know,
batches.
you're just literally grabbing at straws. Because I was trying to make a recipe from it. I was going to make one, and I looked and I was like, that just doesn't help me. It's not an helpful book.
Yeah.
Although it's great food, but it's not.
Have you made anything from it? Or
No,
have you been-
I went there. I went to they had an ice cream stand in New York.
Yeah.
Where there was like the milk bar, and they did the cereal milk ice cream, and I had that, and it was absolutely delicious.
I went there in New York and I had, I would say, the nicest, I mean, it's a baby drink, but the nicest hot drink I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it was a cereal milk latte, and it was just like hot ice cream. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always
amazing.
I've always tried to do it because I did it for what was it? It was a Pinterest event, and I made a cereal milk custard, and the amount of cereal that I wasted. Because I was like, I just want a little bit of flavour, and it all soaked up. And I was like, where's the milk gone? So I had to put more milk
see,
in,
you keep
and I kept doing it. And then all of a sudden, I was just like, but then end up sort of spreading all of this, the cereal out into a crumb and drying it out because I had so much milk through it. It just took ages to dry.
I bet.
Absolute pain. Did you say you had a picnic as well? I overheard your whistlings
I
of.
did have a picnic, and I think I made the best Coronation chicken sandwiches I've ever made before in my life.
It is my first favourite filler. Coronation chicken.
Should I tell you how I did mine?
Please.
So, poach the chicken, which I always feel sort of a slight pain poaching chicken.
Because it looks weird.
Well, it looks all horrible and boiled, but also you just feel like you're wasting all that lovely potential crispy skin. But if you do take all the skin off and poach chicken, you don't get the same because you haven't got the fat in the water and around the chicken. So I poached a chicken with loads of ginger in there and star anise and cinnamon, stuff like that, just lots of spices in the water. So it was quite nicely sort of, flavored chicken already, a lot of salt in there too. Flaked all the chicken off, homemade mayonnaise with Greek yogurt, toasted the curry powder to add to it, spring onions in there, mango chutney, of course. So that was the basic mix. And then one of the people at the picnic can't have nuts. So I toasted the almonds, kept those separate, but it worked really well because then what I did is I made this a bit like a French dip. I thought I'll make a dipping sauce for all the sandwiches I made. So for the Coronation chicken, I made a really loose coriander chutney.
Oh.
And then we had the sandwiches, and then you would dip them in the white, bright green. So you had this bright yellow, sandwich filling, dipped it in the coriander chutney, then sprinkled the almonds on top, and then took a bite. So the almonds stayed super crispy, little clicky. This really sort of sour, quite hot coriander chutney, and then the creamy Coronation chicken. And
That's
just like
Coronation chicken sandwich to the next level.
It was just with a dip.
Just with a dip and
just
sprinkles.
With a dip and take the.
So you basically had a weekend of sprinkles. You sprinkled on the cake.
Of course, it was
sprinkled on the Coronation
everywhere, and then egg mayonnaise with a Caesar dressing to dip them in.
Oh, Janine made me an egg mayo sandwich with bacon, all like pre-bought stuff from the supermarket as we were going for a picnic, and she bought good rolls, and then egg mayo pre-made, and then bacon.
So was it the bacon that you bought already cooked?
Yeah, it looks really
super
weird.
Clicky, crispy, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, I bet texturally that was really nice with the soft egg mayo and then the crispy bacon.
God, I'm hungry now.
I'm so hungry.
I'm so hungry.
What else have you had?
McDonald's. 2 days in a row. No, I had a break in between. You were talking about this, so I said, I told you what I'd eaten, and then I said, how much do you reckon it cost? And it still baffles me.
No, it was the other way around. No, you told me the price, and you said, what's that? From McDonald's, you said
$6.68.
$6.68, and I said 2 triple cheeseburgers, and you were like, "How did you know that?"
But I think I got my card clone from McDonald's. I was sitting at home. I got it before we went to the Fortnum's Awards because I knew that the food wouldn't be filling. Oysters and caviar doesn't fill you up very much.
Although there was some those langoustines on the skewers, but
I missed those. Yeah, and I had some asparagus, which I remembered in the morning.
Asparagus wasn't
a bit stinky.
Too much mayo.
And then so I had 2 triple cheeseburgers. I was like, that'll tie me over. And then then the next day I woke up and I had the 2 days after I had these transactions from McDonald's and Uber Eats that was like £23 gone through, another one gone through. Cancelled my card because I was like, well, I've only been there once. I hardly ever really go to McDonald's unless I'm desperate. And then 3 days later there was like another 2 transactions that got declined from McDonald's. So I reckon I got scammed in McDonald's.
Wonder how that.
I don't know.
Happens.
Yes, well, I kept Googling it last night.
Physically got your card. How does that?
But they could have scanned my details if I dibbed it on it. I don't know.
Anyway, how were the 2 triple cheeseburgers?
Amazing.
They are.
They're so good. They serve a purpose, and they were so good, and they're so like the good ratio of meat and cheese, and
I think the fact that it is stacked like it's like a smash burger almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because rather than quarter pounder of cheese with the.
And I think it's one of those ones they actually have to make as well. Because if you get a normal cheeseburger, they're just like bosh it out, and there's not enough heat in the patty to melt the cheese properly. When you got a triple, you get that residual.
One of my irks that should go on the wine list, which will come up later on, of course, is the fact that you can't that they are made to order, and so often you'll get a burger where the cheese is sort of like that, whereas you want one that's been like the days of old when it used to be behind the person serving you have a double cheeseburger and they just take it, and it's been under the hot lamps for 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, maybe that's what you got to do.
It's better, and it's all.
Maybe you just got to go order it, and then when they start calling your name, just ignore them for a bit.
Have a poo or something.
Yeah, and then just come back. Oh, is that mine? Perfect, melted cheese.
That's a good idea.
Triple cheeseburger. They're so
good. Too dangerous. Anyway. Too good. I tell you what it is this week, Martin.
Go on.
It's World
Biscuit
Day.
Biscuit. What's the difference between a biscuit and a cookie?
Well, a cookie's often sort of a bit softer, isn't it? And
but if you overcook
like
a cookie,
sort of cake.
If you overcook a cookie, then you'll get a biscuit.
Well, biscuit is twice bake, isn't it? That's what it means in
is it
French, I think.
I actually made a cookie, which isn't a biscuit, but if I twice baked it, it would be. Ed Kimber.
The boy who bakes.
And they were unbelievable. And it was so easy. Like, I can't bake because I just don't follow measurements. But these were just like amazing.
Did you weigh, because they were all so perfectly sized? Did you weigh? No. How is that?
Well, because I made it into a circle, then it said 6, and 6 is an easy number to do some chopping into.
Yeah.
So just
they were absolutely picture perfect. They taste good too.
They were
what
semolina,
flavour were they?
honey and burnt butter. So all you do is, it's really easy. You burn the butter, and then you put some sugar in a bowl, and you put your butter in, you give that a whisk, and you're like, oh my God, I've screwed it already. And then you put some honey in, and then you give that a mix. And then it's half semolina and half flour. That goes in, bit of baking powder, bit of bicarb. That's it, mix it together, and then done.
And were they like crisp biscuits, like proper
crisp
sort of
around the
snappy?
edges, a little soft in the middle. Because there were cookies, but
Yeah.
they were very... Noah's eating all 5 of them. He was like, yum. Yum.
Biscuits have been, like your classic biscuits, have been kicked into the long grass by the fact that there's just so many, so many cookies and fancy biscuits these days that the actual, I feel like the sort of biscuit aisle of the supermarket is a bit of a...
Well, what is a good biscuit?
Few old people down there. Like these days, it's like if you went to someone's house and they got out custard creams, you'd be like,
what are you? 90?
Come on, what? Yeah, what's going on?
I love it. How do you eat your custard cream?
How do you think I ate it?
You are a twist and a lick.
I wouldn't, not a lick, because I think your tongue would just sort of glide over it. I would be a twist and a...
Oh, twofer.
Kind of,
yeah. I'm a licker
like
because
ploughing. Ploughing the
Get it
cream.
off like a cat.
Oh, lots of licking then.
Yeah, lots of licking.
I'm not that keen on custard creams or bourbons.
What?
They're a bit bland.
You brought it up.
I like...
Jammy Dodgers.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
No?
And I don't like Jaffa cakes either. They taste like Kiora. They're too...
Who's that? The singer?
No, they're like the orange drink. It's like an actual squash that's concentrate.
Capri Sun? Robinson's?
Sunquick. God, that's what we had when we were kids. That was mad.
Sunquick.
You can get that in like world food shops. It's so syrupy. It's nice, but it's like, whoa.
Go on, what's your favourite biscuit?
I'm into the Leibniz these days.
What's a Leibniz?
Leibniz are those ones that are like a raft of... small raft of biscuit on top of literally a sea of chocolate. The chocolate, it's all chocolate with a little biscuit island.
Well, they look a bit foreign.
Yeah.
They look like you've been to
German
France.
yeah.
All right. The Hobnob do the caramel one, the double caramel with chocolate. Oh, they're unbelievable. I used to sit there when I used to do a lot of running. I used to have that and an Anche yogurt strawberry. I used to use the digestives as the spoon. Oh.
The Hobnob.
Yeah, Hobnob.
Digestives were originally made as a digestive. But it's fun. It's one of those words that you just go, but you wouldn't.
Research,
but you wouldn't. But you kind of go, it's a digestive biscuit, and you don't think digestive. It's like laxative or something. You know what I mean? It's like, but it was actually because of the bicarb in there. They were designed to help your digestion, not to be a nice treat. Oh. That's why they were first invented.
Yeah, but digestive, the plain ones are a bit salty, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, it says here, a digestive biscuit, sometimes described as a sweetmeal biscuit, is a semi-sweet biscuit that originated in Scotland. The digestive was first developed in 1839 by 2 doctors to aid digestion.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to Question of the Week. So the question of the week question is, what are the 5 spices used in Chinese 5-spice seasoning?
When we come back to it, shall we take it in turns to say one?
Chinese 5-spice. We'll come back to that later. Good luck editing that one, Rudy. Right, we move on to the next bit.
This feels like the meat of the episode. Oh, because it is a meat. Each episode, we choose an ingredient and we talk about it and we take it in turns. And it's my turn this week. And the ingredient we're going to talk about is lamb.
Lamb.
Lamb. Lamsy. Lamb. The only meat that is named after the baby version. You don't have calf, do you? You don't have piglet.
Suckling pig.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say, would you like some piglet?
Oh. Maybe that's new marketing for them.
Do you want chick?
I've got a funny story about lambs and sheep and all that kind of stuff.
Tell me it, please.
Me and my friend cycled around England.
Yeah.
And every morning we woke up and we were like, let's go off early and get it nice and nice. So what we do is we'd leave, and then 95% of the time we was being like farmland areas, and then we used to set them. We used to just go, "Ah!" and then they all set off. So first thing in the morning, it's like, "Ah!" And we're just cycling through these like really quiet roads and just set the whole field off. Oh, it was so funny.
The classic chain reaction lamb.
Yeah.
Fan of lamb?
Love it.
It's not so popular with people. I have a good friend who likes his meat, but he's like, don't like lamb, too sweaty.
Yeah, it's sweaty. I was going to say, that's the thing a lot of people don't like is like the sweaty smell of it. If you get like a good leg and it's all fatty and soft and...
The fat for me, I mean, I do love it, but the fat for me was when we had lamb a lot when I was a child. I've got such memories of post-lamb dinner doing kind of lamb fat burps. That was like really like, and there's something about it's quite a sort of weird. It's a very distinct flavour, the fat on lamb.
It's
I
quite
think.
grassy and gamey.
Yeah,
I always think. The only other way that I do it is chops. I love a chop. You know, if you get like a lollipop. Remember we did the Taste Award, the Taste of London, and you turned up late, drunk
and full.
So we got asked to judge the Taste of London. Well, I got asked to judge, and I was like, George, do you want to come along? And it was a Taste of London Awards where they give you 30 different vendors. And you turned up after going for a full meal.
Defense, I didn't realise that you had arranged for me to be a judge as well. I thought that you were just saying, "I'll just come along and
I think I said, "Do you want to judge it with me?"
Well, I didn't realise what it entailed, and yes, I had been for a sort of
I remember
9-course lunch at Mountain, and with vino galore.
But anyway, so Hoppers were one of the people that delivered this lamb chop, and it is unbelievable.
Is that one of the ones I had, or was that before?
I can't remember. There was so many we ate.
But
there was like a little, it was like a lamb chop with like a peanut sambal, I think it was. And it was just like all charred, all the fatty. Oh, it's just so good.
My fondest lamb memory is years ago. We used to, we were friends with a couple, and the guy in the couple was brought up in Trinidad and Tobago, and he made a pit roast lamb, and it was just insane. And it was this lovely, they lived in the countryside just outside Brighton, and they had this party, and they'd all like hay bales, and they'd made toffee, and we were going around this cardboard box with toffee, and everyone was anyway. And there was this steam coming out of the ground because earlier on in the day they'd dug a pit and put the lamb in. It was like something out of a horror film with the sort of the lights from the house behind them with all this steam and them digging and then pulling this body
still
out
alive?
of the ground. Oh, no, it was longer. It was well, I mean, it had been both buried and cooked. So
what's that noise?
No, it was the tenderest, and they'd put so many herbs and like oranges and all sorts of stuff, and it was just like this, like melting, fall off the bone. It was insane.
It's the thing with lamb; it can take a lot of flavour. Like it can go either one of two ways. You can either have it quite plain with a little bit of salt, and then like some nice, like mint sauce, and it lives up to it. Or you can just go in on the spice and all the flavours and everything. Because I had a lamb shank at Momo's, a restaurant in just off the back of Regent Street.
Yeah,
like Moroccan sort of like Middle Eastern style food. And I always remember it had one of those big Josper ovens, like the big charcoal ovens. This lamb shank came out, and it was almost like got that reddish sort of film on it where it had gone a bit shiny where it had been roasted. And I was a bit like, oh, this is going to be dry. But that thing was unbelievable. It obviously been like braised before. And then whack it in the oven so it all goes. And it was, that with like some orangey couscous. Oh,
so beautiful. Did the bone just come out as well on that? Yeah, so like when I've done lamb shoulders and you can just like slide the bone out, it's just so satisfying. What are your thoughts on the non-lambs, as in they get a bit older?
Oh,
hogget and mutton.
Well, I think
do you know what the definition of each, like where the cutoff point is?
It's quite young, isn't it? Like 6 months, is it?
No, so lamb is up to a year. Anything up to a year. Right. And apparently, like although lamb is all popular at Easter,
it's the wrong time.
It's the wrong time. Yeah, apparently, sort of summer is when it's at its best.
Yeah,
it's got a bit more. It's eating a bit more grass and it's got a bit more flavour to it. But yeah, up to a year is lamb.
Yeah,
between 1 and 2 is hogget.
Yeah,
which I guess is getting a bit more gamey, but not as much as mutton. And then anything over 2 years.
Because I watched a clip of a butcher that was talking about it, saying that everyone around Easter is like really excited about lamb and all that stuff, but they were just like, it's completely wrong. Why is it even then? Why did they choose lamb?
I don't know.
Why do they pick lamb at Easter? Producer Sadie, she's really, really typing that on that laptop today,
wearing the keys out while Sadie is finding out about the Easter thing.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying about mint sauce, that's really only this country, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like other countries look at us and like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? So France thinks it's really weird. America thinks America as well. They eat so little lamb. Apparently, they eat like less than 1% of the meat they eat is lamb. It's all beef and chicken.
Well, I'm just trying to think where we would probably get most of our lamb. I know it sounds weird, but from New Zealand. So maybe getting lamb over to America, unless they've got lamb farms in America. That
I would imagine these days probably very hard getting anything into America without.
Lamb tariffs. We used to have salt marsh lamb when we used to work. I think it was from Swaledale, the butchers.
Yeah.
And this was weird. When I was working in Soho, walked past the restaurant I used to work at. I was like, I used to work there. when I was 19. I was 19 years ago. I was like, it could have been like yesterday.
Oh no, it's insane.
Fill it in some fish and
salt marsh lamb is so called. Why? Where's it from?
A salt marsh somewhere?
No, I think it's South Wales. I think that they've got these salt marshes and is it? I've never tried it. Is it more salty? Do they literally eat salty vegetation?
Well, I think I'd have to do a taste test. This was 19 years ago. I don't know how I'd recall that taste in my mouth, but I think if you were to do a comparison, I always find like cheaper lamb, if you taste it, always tastes a bit watery. There's not enough to it. But then, when you start, I suppose, getting the better stuff, I think they must just live off of like, I don't know, what they call them, like dead man's fingers. What those salty fingers? What are they called?
Dead man's fingers is in a crab, isn't it?
We're doing it. Come on, fingers.
Yeah, magic spell. What's it called?
What are they
Samphire.
Called? No, but there's samphire, and there are also called other ones called.
No, that's okra. Okra's lady's fingers.
Sea vegetable named after fingers.
Fish fingers.
Fish fingers. Salty fingers. Salty fingers.
Salty fingers.
Called salty fingers.
And what are they? They're like a seaweed.
They look like samphire, I think, but then they're just a little bit like podgier.
Right.
So they haven't got like a knuckle like samphire. Yeah. They're just like Prince Charles fingers. Obviously,
like Porky Whites.
Porky Whites. Yes, I presume they just gobble all of that and then live off a bit of like kelp or.
When you said samphire with the knuckle, it just made me think of the face hugger in Alien, because that's got kind of like knuckles, doesn't it? When it's on the face, and then they try and cut the knuckle, and that's when the acid goes through the ship. Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Anyway,
80s.
You've seen Alien? You must have seen Alien.
I've seen it once or twice.
I'm not going to do the. What do you mean you haven't seen Alien?
Go on, George is up. George wants to get his dish out. George, get your dish out.
Because listeners, viewers, one of us makes something, and I've got something to make, but I need to cook it. So
I can't wait to eat this sweaty lamb.
Because, of course, you were saying about lamb being able to stand up to robust flavours.
Yeah.
One of which that works beautifully with lamb, anchovy.
Anchovy, yes, indeed.
So there's anchovy in there. I'm going to go over here and turn it over, so I might shout.
Okay.
This is a Simon Hopkinson recipe. He used to be the head chef at Bibendum, owned by Terence Conran, like in years ago, 80s, 90s maybe.
Okay.
But it's so simple, super simple. So what you do, I'm going to turn the lamb over.
Go on, turn the lamb over. What cut of lamb is it? I can talk about that.
Lamb breast.
Lamb breast. I've got a story about lamb breast. My old chef, Bob, when I used to work at Andrew Edmonds, he did this lamb breast, which is quite a fatty, thin cut. He would do it, and he cooked it, and then he would let it set, and then we would press it in between two trays while it was cooling, so it would get nice and flat. And he used to set it with dandelion leaves. Dandelion leaves are like,
It's almost like a lamb salad.
Yeah.
Right.
That, pomegranates, people hate it. Loads of ras el hanout and sumac and all of that. And it was,
it's strong flavours, isn't it? And rocket-like, are they?
Yeah,
are they
quite crunchy,
sort of
a little bit
peppery
bitter.
Yeah.
Really delicious.
Right, I reckon that's probably done now.
Go on, mate. Yeah, so that was my only foray into lamb breast. Quite a weird cut of meat to go and buy at the supermarket, though, if you've got people that are supermarket shopping.
It's not particularly attractive looking in its raw state.
No.
Lots of fat, lots of connective tissue. Basically, I'll tell you why I chose it is because it's the same cut as what you did when we did pork a few weeks ago. Yeah. It's basically belly. It's pork belly.
Yeah.
But on a lamb, so much smaller, and you can roll it. So when it's rolled, it's like a rolled pork belly. And so, slow cooking and then frying afterwards, which is exactly what you did with the pork, because that had been slow cooked. And then you crisp it up in a pan. So that's what I've done. So I'm going to
bring it
servy lurvy.
I've got another thing to say. I was watching a fantastic YouTube channel. We're also on YouTube. If you do want to see me talk to myself about things while George cooks things, go check out our YouTube channel. But I was watching the Bon Appetit YouTube channel, and there was a guy who did venison belly, and he used meat glue. Have you ever used meat glue, George?
I've not used it.
No.
But I have seen it.
He's seen it, hasn't used it. So meat glue, doesn't sound like a teenager's bedroom. It is actually a thing that you sprinkle on meat, and it does glue it together. So they took something like this breast would be quite thin, and then to make it a bit chunky, you can stick two bits together, and then it stays as a thing. So he did these venison belly lollipops, and it was very fantastic. Bloody hell!
You're going to have the crispier one.
Look at that.
So I'll tell you what I did. So as I say,
You're
this
so
is...
Michelin.
So I'll tell you what this is. So what you do, this bit is just something to add to it because it's nice as well. But the recipe for this, so few ingredients. All you do, you get a lamb breast.
Yeah.
So it's rolled up. You season the outside. You get some colour on it in a pan, in a cast iron pan, or some, casserole pan that go in the oven with a lid. Take it out, put in a kilo of onions.
A kilo?
A kilo.
Can you give me quantities of size of onions? Maybe 4 big white ones?
Well, I just got a bag of little onions, so they're quite small. So there were probably about 10 in there, something like that. So they're quite piddly ones.
Yep, sorry, go on, carry on.
So really thinly sliced onions, put half in the pan, put the lamb back on top, the other half of the onions, a couple of bay leaves, bit of rosemary, put the lid on, put it in the oven for 2 hours, take it out, take the lamb out, put it in the fridge, forget about that. Cook the onions, there were all loads of waters come out of the onions and fats come out of the lamb. So you take some of the fat off so it's not too, because there's a lot of fat comes out of lamb breast. Cook the onions down with some anchovy and some red wine vinegar.
Ooh.
And basically make a sort of lamb onion jam almost.
Yeah.
And then when the lamb is cold, you can slice it, refry it, and that's what we got.
My question is, you rolled this?
I didn't roll, I bought it rolled.
Right, okay, that's what I was going to say. How did you get into a circle?
Yeah.
Because lamb breast is like...
It's like a big flat, like a pork belly.
Right, so
it's basically, it's just rolled up and tied up with string. So I'm just going to put a little bit of lemon on there to make it a little, just freshen it up.
Take a little picture.
Drip, drip, drip. And I got some salt because it always likes a little bit of...
so pretty, isn't it?
A little bit of flaky salt on there.
Have you tried it before, Chef? Otherwise you're just going to...
I have done this so many times in the last few weeks because I just can't... it's so good. There seems to be a lot of lamb breast in all your kind of, Sainsbury's and
it'll be tastier now. It'll be tastier.
It's tastier, and I wonder if it's less popular, and so there's lots of lambs slaughtered for Easter, and everyone wants the legs, and a few people want the shoulders, and actually then there's loads of breasts that are left unwanted. So to go with it, because again I think it works really nice. This is a little bit of baba ganoush.
Oh,
which I think works very nicely with those sorts of flavors.
Okay, here we go. Right,
of everything.
Give a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of Monica in my life. Oh, yum. Oh,
melty in it.
It's almost a bit bummy, isn't it?
Yeah,
like that fat is like that gaminess. There I go.
Oh, a bit more. God, I'm hungry.
Nice. It is delicious.
It's just such a good cut.
I think people would be put off buying lamb breast because they don't know. You expect to have a lot of meat. There's quite a lot of there's a lot of meat there. I think people would instinctively go, well, it's not
There's
a leg.
Not enough lean.
Yeah.
But
it's delicious.
That's where the flavour is.
I can just imagine that with you could have put all anchovies rolled up inside it.
Yeah. What I just love about the recipe, aside from the baba ganoush that I did as well, there's just so few ingredients, and it's just such a simple process.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's literally, you put it in the oven, forget about it for 2 hours.
Good one for the barbecue. Once you've done that.
Once you could, yes, exactly. And then you can, you can slice them. Because what I've been doing is doing exactly this, slicing nice thick slices of the slow cooked lamb breast, freezing them. And you just take them out,
they'll
defrost. You put them in if they're vat packed as well, put them in a bowl of room temperature water. They're defrosted, ready for cooking in 10 minutes.
Or you could slice it really thin and fry it off a little bit and put it in like a Philly cheesesteak style sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or in a salad, like you were saying about the restaurant you worked in.
George,
that was lamb.
I'm gonna give you a solid 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
Well done, George.
Thank you, lamb.
Right, should we move on to Britain's favors?
Every week, we discuss one of Britain's favourite dishes, be it pizza.
Oh, have we done pizza yet?
Burgers. I think we have. Yeah. But I think we could even come back to it.
I think we should
talk about. But this week, we're talking about...
Plowmans.
Plowmans.
Yes.
Plowman.
Plowmans. I love a Plowmans. The only thing that I don't like about a Plowmans is that it's not quite a meal. So I kind of you have to be in the mood for it. Like if I went to a pub and I saw it, I'd be like, I would smash that. But I need something a bit more substantial. So I think it's like a post-walking thing, isn't it?
Yes, I like them. I feel like they are one of those things that could so often be better, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the problem. And I think the reason why I would probably not choose one usually is based on experience of, rock hard cheese that hasn't been kept at the right temperature, no imagination in the kind of salady side of things.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Maybe we've got some United States of Americans listening and they would know what a Plowman's is. So I was like, what is a traditional Ploughman?
Well, first of all, do you know how recently invented it was? Because it's one of those things you'd imagine, it goes back centuries. And it's actually only the 1960s. And it was invented by the Milk Marketing Board.
Mm. I haven't got these notes.
I haven't got these notes. No, these are in here. I did my research.
Go on.
But
Carry on.
It was invented by the Milk Marketing Board to try and sell more cheese because there wasn't enough cheese being
calcium
eaten.
deficiencies.
Yeah. So the Milk Marketing Board invented this thing and called it, this is going to be called the Plowman's Lunch. And then it's grown in popularity.
Why the
since
Plowman?
then. I guess they thought it just sounded nice and rustic and sort of, sort of wholesome. And, well, the Plowman comes in and he has his granary bread and his cheese. But my thought was that it's a pity it wasn't the Cheese Marketing Board because they could have been called the Cheese Board. But it's the Milk Marketing Board. So, the Cheese Board.
I know, but the cheese board was already invented. So if you went in and said, can I have a cheese board? And you just got a cheese board.
No, I'd said the Milk Marketing Board. It's a pity they weren't the Cheese Marketing Board because then they'd be abbreviated to say, where do you work? I work at the Cheese Board. And then everyone would laugh.
My question previous to that is, what is on a Plowman's? Just so for people that never had a Plowman's before, it got here, bread, cheese, and fresh or pickled onions.
It's a movable feast, isn't it? I mean,
and
pate.
Ham? Is that what? There's no like strict definition of what's on it.
There is. I mean, it's one of those things that it feels to me like it's the quintessential deconstructed sandwich.
Before all the starters.
You know what I mean? It was before deconstructed, but it's like a sandwich, but it's still collapsed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you got your bread, you got your salad, you got your cheese and meat and your pickles.
And a hard-boiled egg, it says here.
I don't think I've ever had a hard-boiled egg.
No, I think that's bad research, that is.
What would you, if you were going to make a Plowman's now, and you had the world's larder in front of you, what would you do?
So basic. I like ham.
But we're going to go into details here. What sort of ham?
You allow me.
I know, but sorry.
I was about to go on to that.
Sorry.
Ham. I like ham
on toast.
with the on toast.
Skip back some episodes, listeners, to find out more about ham on toast. Go on.
I like the ham with the breaded stuff, but then I like pockets of jelly in the ham.
Yeah.
So like it's almost a little bit gloopy. I like that gelatinousness. And then, as I said, I went to Cheddar Gorge and I had a Plowman's there. It's probably one of the only Plowman's I've really enjoyed. And that was really crumbly, mature cheddar. So it has to be like that.
Probably kept at the right temperature as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
And then you need...
Can I just ask with the ham, is it the ham that's gone through a machine like that, or is it ham that someone's gone like that? So
I quite like a dub.
Oh, you like a dub. Okay.
Yeah, because then I like to create sort of like, right mouthfuls. You can roll the cheese up in it.
Do you like rolling?
Pickles, I like a Cornichon and the little small pickles. The tiny little like ball pickled onions.
Oh, the little glass or whatever they're called, not glass onions. That's something else.
I don't like the bigger ones because I think they get a bit chewy.
Yeah,
like crunching through it, or I'm like
And also, I hate it when the outer leaf of a big pickled onion sort of skids off the rest of the onion, and then it's like
That's why those little ones are really sharp.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
pate. I love pate. Yeah,
coarse or smooth.
Depends who I'm with. I do like a. I know
who I'm with.
Well,
what does it depend?
What do you mean? Well, if I have to share it.
Oh, I see.
Or if I don't have to share it.
Okay. Well,
Janine hates pate.
This is just you. So
just me.
Matter.
Great. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, really rough. I've mentioned the word bummy quite a lot and gamey.
Yeah.
I quite like a pate that is like...
It's got a
little bit of oomph. You kind of eat
challenging
it and you go...
pate.
All right. Nice. Makes your nose hairs sting a little bit.
Were we talking pork pate, duck?
I think I'll go liver. Yeah, like a duck liver.
Okay, nice.
And then loads of butter and warm bread. I actually went for a meal yesterday and they microwaved the bread because we said, can we get our bread? And they were like, yeah. And they brought it out and it was steaming. We couldn't even touch it. It was so hot.
Way too hot.
Yeah. And then it all dried out because they'd like cooked it. I was like, weird. So anyway, yeah, nice, warm, really crusty, almost too hard outside, but really soft interior.
What sort of bread?
Whomeal.
Right, okay.
Like a sourdough wholemeal.
With like grains
bird seed on the outside.
Yeah.
Okay. Not inside, outside.
I'm not that keen when you get millet.
No.
I like all the others, but millet always tastes a little bit chalky between the teeth. You know what I mean?
That'll be
what
it.
else?
Bit of salad?
Salad. How's your salad?
Token salad. I like a really naff token one. No red onions, no tomatoes, just green leaf dressed in a bit.
I guess with the red onions, unless they're pickled, it's too sharp.
I hate red onions.
And also
raw.
if you don't want them pickled because you've already got some. Oh, that's the we haven't talked about. What it feels like a Plowmans is not a Plowmans without some kind of pickly element.
We've said that. The little cornichons, the little
Oh, no, but I mean some kind of wet, like chutney is what I mean.
No.
No?
I could pass on
You
that.
want anything like that?
Quite happily pass on that.
Do you want something a bit wet in there?
Have a beer. A nice ale.
Just pour it all over like
exactly.
that.
Soup, Plowman soup. Yeah, no, I'd have that's the only time I think I'd drink like an old man's like proper proper ale.
Oh no, I think proper foaming,
yeah,
like pint of Harveys or something. Yeah.
And I watched a clip the other day of the original Guinness, how they used to pour it, and they had 2 kegs, and they had one that would just like fire out foam, and they would leave it to settle for 3 minutes, and it would be like a creamy thick thing like that with like a terrible like frothy top.
Yeah.
And then they go to the other one, which was the flat one, and they would pour it in, and then the white would just rise from the bottom like this.
Wow,
almost set like that. Yeah.
So when was that? So when did it become?
Oh man, it was black and white. Long time ago.
Like Guinness.
Yeah. Oh. No, but it looked quite amazing.
Are you sure it's black and white? Just a close up on the Guinness.
Yeah. But I did wind a few of my mates up because I might have borrowed a Guinness pint glass from a pub, accidentally fell into my bag. And every morning I've been waking up drinking a lot of water, and I was like, oh yeah, I've been learning to split the G with water. So all I do is stand by the tap and do it like 4 or 5 times. And by the time you get really good at it, and then my Irish mates were just like, why are you taking the piss out of our national drink? I was like, I was doing it for a laugh.
Yeah.
And they were like,
and also you're not taking the piss out of the drink. You're
taking the piss out of the splitting the G.
Well, not even taking the piss out of it. You're just going, look, I'm
practicing.
Yeah. I'd say that your friends were being a little oversensitive.
Well, he was Irish. Do you ever order a Plowmans if you see it on the menu?
See, I don't, because I'm always think it just always feels insubstantial, and I always feel like I want something hot.
Same here.
And it always feels disappointing.
Honestly, we should go to Cheddar Gorge and have one. Because they obviously do the cheddar very well in Cheddar Gorge, so we could go to Cheddar Gorge and then have the cheddar on the cheddar.
Would you only have cheddar on there? I like the idea of like a couple of cheeses. I like something a little bit.
I'm a hard cheese man. I'm not a Stilton fan on a Plowman's. No, for a cheese board, yes.
Well, I'll have yours then.
Okay. Is Plowman's essentially just a picnic on a plate?
I'd say it's a deconstructed sandwich, like I said before.
How would you spruce up a Plowman's?
It's one of those things like, do you want to gild this lily?
Oh. What, by adding extra things in there?
I mean, I like the idea. I mean, I think because I'm one of those sorts of people who can't stop adding bits and bobs. So I think if I were going to do it, I probably would overdo it. And
you'd be like a Wetherspoon sort of canapé board.
I don't know what that's like.
Well, like you go in there and you'd be like, buy one, get one free, and then you'd have like crispy prawns. You'd have
I wouldn't put crispy prawns on there. No, I just mean like I would. So I'd go classic, but I would, if I was going to put chutney on there, maybe I'd put a bit of kimchi on there or something as well. So you get a bit of, you get some more like pickle going on. Piccalilli I like.
Yeah.
And then
how many
like with the
cheese?
Salad, I'd put maybe some capers with the salad, or just something just to make it all so there's a bit more going on. It's not just like boom, boom, boom. And maybe 2 types of bread, maybe 2 types of cheese. It's like 2 Plowmans, really.
But isn't there a Plowman's? One's called a Plowman's with ham, and there's like a non-Plowman. I think they call them different. It's like a full Scotsman and a full
Scotsman. A full Scotsman. A full Scotsman.
He's
depending
a
on what he's had. Maybe he's had a Plowman.
Maybe he has. Should we go for a Plowman's?
I'm not that keen on a Plowman.
Nah.
I'd rather go for a hot pie.
With what would you serve it with? What was your potato choice? 1, 2, 3, mash. You're so
sorry,
slow
I was
at this.
deciding.
George, you should know.
Yeah, but I can't choose.
We need an filter for you.
Curly fries.
No,
not really.
Okay. We're going to move on to listeners' questions and stories. I actually really enjoy this bit because it makes us feel quite normal about other people's problems.
Josh has written in saying, firstly, love the show. Thanks, Josh. I was listening to a recent ep and in it, Harvey's Bristol cream sherry was described as disgusting.
That was me, sorry.
I used to agree. However, since visiting bodegas... Bodegas? Is that it?
I don't know. I know what I'm going to say already.
Thunderdor. That sounds like... Thunderdor sounds like a theme park.
Sounds like a pair of underpants.
Let's go to the Thunderdor. In Jerez, Spain, who make Harvey's Bristol cream, I've been converted. I was served an ice-cold tumbler with a good glug of Bristol cream with ice and slices of fresh orange. Interesting. And I have to say, it was fantastic. God, he really does like it. I've been converted. I've tried it in the UK on a warm day since and given it to friends, and people have been surprised to hear what it was. Definitely worth a try. All the best, Josh.
Hey.
I guess it depends what you like. It's very sweet, Harvey's Bristol cream.
Is it?
I mean, I like a Pedro Jimenez.
I see.
You know,
I do as well.
And it's like, that's almost tastes like kind of raisin syrup, doesn't it? Yeah. And I think people put it on desserts and things. Harvey's Bristol cream feels like always to me a slightly kind of watered down version of that. I think I'd rather have a Pedro Jimenez or like a really dry sherry.
Yeah, Pedro Jimenez is so classy. Again, my old mate Bobby used to work at Morrow. He used to serve it to me all the time. He's like, have a shot of this, and you just like sip on it, and you're like, oh,
it's like
this is life.
Maple syrup or something.
Manchego and
yeah.
But yeah, Harvey's Bristol cream. I think it's one of those things. The only time I've ever tried it is right. I'm going to raid my mum and dad's alcohol cupboard and have a swig of that, and it's warm, it's watery, it's rank. And then I had it January last year, and I had the same feelings. But if you're going to stick some orange in it on a warm, sunny day, you're adding a lot of things. This is what I say about food, is that it's the situational thing as well. Like we said about bringing stuff back. But if you're in a warm place, close your eyes, stick a bit of orange.
Well, also, if you're in the actual place in Spain where they make it, and this is how we serve it here, and it's all part of the culture, then of course you're going to enjoy it differently.
If you're sitting on your underpants watching EastEnders, having a sip of Jerry's Bristol cream.
On a bench somewhere.
It's not going to be the same, is it?
With a string holding your coat together.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Josh, all right, I'm going to stick some orange and some ice, and I'll do it when I get home, and then I'll send you a nude.
It feels like it's fashion as well, isn't it? Sherry isn't fashionable at the moment. Vermouth is fashionable. And actually,
going to a vermouth event.
Kind of, sweet vermouth, red red vermouth. There's, similarities there too, sort of sherry things going on, but that's the fashionable one at the moment.
Well, the amazing Chris Jarrett, he had a place called the Two Beards down in Cornwall that I went to. The cocktail. He's got beards, yeah, nice beard. He's a fantastic cocktail maker, and he is doing a vermouth event. Callum says, opinions on using Marmite in pasta, and what are some other ways to use Marmite?
Nigella Lawson did her Marmite pasta dish that I read when my kids were small, and it became a kind of weekly dinner.
Yeah, which is?
I mean, literally cooked pasta, lots of butter, mix it with Marmite, mix it with a bit of pasta water, stir it through. Just the most delicious, easy peasy, savoury pasta.
Yeah, sounds like my hangover cure.
Oh, it's so good.
I just have cooked pasta, cheese, and terrible ham and butter.
Sounds nice as
I
well.
always feel sick after having it, but I always do it. And I'm like, this will save me.
But yes, so I think Marmite in pasta is absolutely delicious. I mean, as we know, I'm a Bovril guy.
You are a Bovril
guy. So
I
would say, try it with Bovril. It's even better.
What other ways would you use Marmite / Bovril?
I mean, I use Marmite loads as a kind of flavor enhancer, in a gravy or a sauce, tiny bit, if you just need a little sort of salty umami hit, a little bit of that goes a long way.
You put it on some seeds before, haven't you? Like pumpkin seeds, or what do you do?
Not Marmite. I put soy sauce on. Sauce, I toast pumpkin seeds, which has a very similar flavor when the liquid evaporates and it goes almost toffee-like.
Yeah.
So I'll put, if I do seeds, I'll put once they're all nicely toasted, I'll put a splash of soy sauce in, turn the heat off as that evaporates, then put a little pinch of demerara sugar in, and that in the heat of the pan dissolves a bit, then not dissolves, melts.
Yeah.
And then pour that into a cold dish, leave it, and it almost sets like a caramel, and then just bust up all the seeds, and they're salty and sweet at the same time.
You did it once here. What did you serve it with?
God, I can't remember. It was an early episode.
God.
The squash, maybe?
Was the squash.
Was it squash?
Memory, yeah. You did the squash in the newspaper.
Yes, and cheese that was too salty with the seeds as well.
That's right.
Yeah, you see, I remember. Silly sausage.
Well, there we go. Good questions there.
Silly salty sausage.
Silly sausage, salty. So if you do have any questions or stories, please type it in, send it in to us at The Stuff Podcast, and we'll get reading them out, I reckon.
Also, don't just send in your questions and stories, send in your wines.
Wine!
And we have some. Johnny says...
Johnny be good.
People who take the mick out of others for ordering non-spicy curries. A korma is bloody lovely.
Yeah, Johnny, I'm with you, mate. I love a korma.
I just don't like people generally kind of ridiculing it. It just feels like a very cheap thing to do.
Especially with spice.
Oh, it's
like
so,
if you're going to eat something you don't enjoy.
Oh, you're not hard enough kind of thing. It's like,
if you don't like tomatoes, it's like, all right, mate, you don't like tomatoes.
Yeah.
But it's not like a...
Actually, I think people who don't like tomatoes.
Yeah, but then, spice is one of those things.
People who don't like tomatoes really are stupid. No, but spice, I think, yes, the kind of hardness thing, or,
you can't
next you're going, you're not going to have a cigarette, and suddenly you're in your schoolyard, and, it's awful, isn't it?
That's it.
Terrible business. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's good enough for the wine. Sorry. Do you think it's good? Are we too strict with the wine list? Our producers just told me that I am too picky with the wine list. That could be a wine. People who are picky about wine lists.
Yeah, George. George is my wine.
Shall I write it on? Oh, it's so nicely cleaned.
Oh, we can fit more on. I've got a wine.
Look at how clean this. So let's start with, first of all, Johnny says, so people who take the mick out of others for ordering non-spicy curries.
Spicy haters. Spicy pickers. Pick on spicy, non-spicy people.
Mildness shamers.
Okay, I'll read the next wine while you get that down. So, Isaac, boiled veg with nothing on it is a cardinal sin. And I'm trying to think of a couple of things that I have boiled and I don't mind. Kale. I don't mind that boil. You could boil it in salted water.
I mean, I was going to say, when he says nothing on it, does he mean no salt? I mean, because I think if you boiled
anything
with no salt, it would be
rubbish. I could eat carrots that have just been boiled in salt.
Yeah, I mean, I like putting a bit of butter or oil on at the end.
That's putting something on it. I think if they've done it really badly, if they've just boiled some vegetables and in some water,
how long have you boiled it? If you've overboiled it and everything else, then it's just absolutely disgraceful. If it's boiled nicely with a bit of salt,
I don't think it's worthy enough for me. I think
hold on. I'm just going to check if we're allowed not to put it on.
I've got one that kind of goes back on one that someone did, which was QR codes on menus.
Yeah.
So I went to this brilliant venue called Corner down in Canada Water, and I sat down. It was like drinks menu, food menu. I was like, brilliant, QR code. I was like, it was quite a big venue, so I was like, oh, that's all right. Yeah. Scanned it, saw the menu, and I was like, how do I order? And I couldn't order. I had to go up to the bar to show them my phone of what I wanted to order. And there was 4 different menus because it was like Mexican, there was like some Japanese, there was like some chicken. So I had to keep bouncing between menus on this QR. And I was like,
oh, it's infuriating.
Why don't you just give me a menu?
Yeah.
Give me a menu or let me order through the app.
That whole thing just absolutely boils my blood.
But it was like they'd cut the step to make another step in.
Oh, no,
it just
completely.
didn't make any sense.
Well, it's like, I mean, this is a food podcast, and I'm going to moan about Screwfix.
Oh.
But they used to have a catalogue, and you'd flick through, you go, I need some light bulbs and some, 4.5 30 mil screws.
Yeah.
And you flick through, you go, oh, actually, I could do with the radiator valve or whatever else. But now, because they haven't got the catalogue, you have to go on the app and then you have to search for the exact thing. And often you don't know what it's called. It's like, well, I know what it is. It's an electric thing, but I don't know what it's. Without knowing the exact name, you can't find it.
Like the guys do know their stuff, though. I went in there and I explained something. I even drew a picture. And he was like, oh, the swivel bracket, 121 799 258. Got 2 of those, mate.
Well, that's all right. You can say, oh, yeah, out of stock. Pardon us, shamers. We've got fresh wine. So at the beginning of the show, you may remember we were posed the question, what are the 5 spices in Chinese 5 spice?
I'm actually really stuck.
I mean, there's going to be something aniseedy in there.
Well, that's the one I can only think of.
Yeah. Is it aniseed or is it...
I don't know. I haven't looked.
Fennel?
So I was going to say star anise.
It's got to be star anise.
It's got a star anise. Yeah,
okay.
Star anise. Then I saw one, which I could give you a clue.
Okay, give me a clue.
Poke it in an orange.
Clove.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Okay, star anise, clove.
You've said one, George.
Fennel.
Correct.
Oh, fennel and star anise.
God, they love it, don't they?
Right.
Sweetness? There's got to be some form of sweetness in there.
I think the fennel and the star anise are both quite sweet already, aren't they? Cinnamon?
Yes.
Oh, that's 4.
One more. Is it something boring like black pepper?
No, but it's along the right lines.
White pepper.
Szechuan pepper.
Pink pepper. Szechuan.
Szechuan peppercorn.
In everyone.
In everyone.
No, because Chinese 5 spice isn't that.
Do you, I wonder
like
I wonder if it's also one that's a bit like some Chinese 5 spices are different to the others.
I've got a spicy one before. I've got a packet of Chinese 5 spice, spicy.
Right.
But normal Chinese 5 spice. Interesting. Szechuan.
So there we go. A lot of aniseedy flavours in
well
there.
done, George. Yeah, it's all aniseed.
I mean, that's why I love aniseed.
Skunk and aniseed. Got a funny story about them. We went to a chalet in France once when I was maybe about 10. And then we had this big chalet, and then next door there was all this commotion. I was like, what's that? And then there was these like band outside, like smashing up chairs because they were trying to feed the fire because they didn't have any firewood. And then it turns out they got kicked out and it was skunk and aniseed.
Wow.
Yeah, being all rock and roll.
Skunk and aniseed.
Is that what they're called?
Skunk and Nancy,
Skunk
I
and
think.
aniseed. What?
Skunk and Nancy. And Nancy, all one word. And
Right.
Nancy.
Skunk.
Not skunk and Nancy.
Oh!
I think I'd prefer skunk and aniseed.
Me too. I've called them that all my life. No one's corrected me.
Well, that's the end of the show.
Great.
It's been a nice one.
I actually enjoyed myself.
I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the lamb.
I enjoyed your lamb.
Our lamb.
Yeah, our lamb. And the chat about Plowmans, actually. I could go and gobble a Plowmans right now.
Well, now, exactly. That's the thing. We talk about these things and I'll be critical. And then afterwards I go,
Should I get a bit of lump of cheese?
A little bit of Plowmans now,
Do a
please.
part
Thank
of
you.
Plowmans. All right. Well, look, that wraps up another show. Don't know which camera to talk into. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. And thanks for watching.
And thanks for listening if you just got us in your ears.
Very good. Yeah.
But do go to YouTube and have a look because you you can see, we talk about all this food and you hear all the sounds of us going nom nom nom, and it's nice to be able to see what we're eating.
And you get to see our resting concentration faces.
And you get to see our faces.
Yeah, people always think I go like this.
I don't think you go like that.
No, I do.
Do you know what one of my favourite things about you is?
This is a nice ending.
When you eat stuff, you just enjoy it with such, you get, and it's just, that's good.
I love food.
I know, but sometimes you feed someone and they'll go, and you're like, come on,
mate, punch them in the nose.
Say something.
Yeah, it's because they don't like food. I love food. Anyway, there we go. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to go and check out our Instagram at The Stuff Podcast. Write in your listeners' questions and stories, your questions, your stories, and your wines. Leave us a comment, leave us a thing, and just be nice. Right, bye.
Bye-bye.